What's going on, people? Welcome back to Strange Talk with Doc. I had to take a week off just to recharge my batteries. I like to do that from time to time. I did say that I'm going to tell you how to mess up a telemarketer's morning, day, afternoon, or evening. We get these calls from telemarketers. We don't ask them to bother us at our homes. But I'm going to give you a quick scenario. Just stick with me, okay? It's going to be worth your time, I promise. You get a phone call from telemarketer. The number does not match, first of all, what they're talking about. So you know that they're there to bullshit you about, okay? You can already tell that. So the first thing you do, this is just my advice, this is just for fun. You let them speak for about 10 or 15 seconds to introduce themselves, to say what their product is. Then you say, could you hold on for a minute? You get them to pause. Then the first thing that you say is, please, can I get your home number? It must be very important that you say, can I get your home number so that I can call you about back? Now, let me start again. Get your home number so that I can call you at home at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, this will cause them to do one or two things. They will stop abruptly because you have shocked their mind, or two, they will hang up on you. Now, that particular person will never want to call your number again. Make this your habit. Every time they call you, you ask for their home number and you state that you will be calling them at an outlandish time of the day, be it 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I had one guy, he was so thrown up, he tried to give me his home number until I told him I was going to call him at 4 a.m. And he was like, no, please don't do that. Now, we don't want these calls. We know that they're nuisance. You do the best that you can to block. I don't say that you should destroy somebody or you should wreck them or you should hate them because they're trying to feed their family. This is not about being evil. This is about having fun with somebody who bothered you when you were minding your business in the privacy of your home. So this is just a little payback. And that was it. It's quick, fast, and easy. Now let's move on to the regular portion of our show. Jim Seals of Seals and Crosby, he died at the age of 80. You'll remember him from the song Summer Breeze and Diamond Girls. If you grew up in the 70s, these were on those light rock stations all the time. I mean, all the time. You couldn't get past either one of these two songs. Philip Baker Hall died at the age of 90. You will mostly know him from Seinfeld and Boogie Nights. Now, what you would know him from Seinfeld from is he was the library cop. If you've never seen the episode of when Jerry owed a book to the library and this dude took his library detective agent job way too serious, it was hilarious. I say rest in peace. The WWE lost two longtime referees, Tim White, who died at the age of 68. And if you ever seen any of the YouTube stuff, Tim White was like Andre the Giant's also driving buddy, drinking buddy, etc. But he was a longtime WWE referee. And one of the twins, David Hebner, died at the age of 73. David and Earl Hebner were staples in the WWE for a long time. I really couldn't tell the two apart. So I couldn't tell you who did what match. I don't know if which one of them was involved with the Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels deal, but all I know is that one of the twins has passed away. We had another mass shooting, this time in Alabama, in an Episcopal church. 3 people died and 1 was injured. It was a boomers potluck party. People can't even go to the sanctity of a sanctuary anymore without being a place where target practices on live human beings is happening. Nobody knows how to deal with their emotional grief anymore. Everybody has to take their pain out on as many other people as humanly possible. And something about that is just so fucked up. There are so many ways to deal with the stress and pain that you don't have to take other people off the planet. Do I know the real cause of this? No, I'm not going to speculate, and I don't care. All I know is that people died in a church, and this should never happen. There is no color, there's no nationality, there's no creed, there's no group of people who should be dying in a church. America has been going through a massive heat wave. I mean, the weather temperatures have been outlandish. We had 104s, 106s. Uh, we getting a break today. It's going to be like 88, but then we bouncing right back to the 97, 98. And these are causing rainstorms that are out of this world. Now, I don't know if this is partly to blame for some of the U.S. flights being canceled since Friday. Over 6,000 flights in the United States of America have been delayed or canceled. This is leaving poor families locked at airports. They're separated from their bags. They might have medicines in their bags. That's why it's very important in your carry-on. The things that you need to survive, you must put in your carry-on. Do not trust your medicines in your luggage because you can be separated from them for days. You might need some kind of breathing apparatus. Make sure it's in your carry-on. If you needed some books or batteries or anything like that that you know is essential and that you cannot get easily in an airport, please take this as a learning lesson and make sure that it's in the carry-on bag that you have with you. Just make sure that it meets the guidelines of TSA. You know, you got to look up the ounces and stuff like that. Or if you're in another country, look up the grams or whatever the hell you call it. And just make sure that you have what you need. It's very important because this is happening over and over again. This is not the first time that thousands of flights have been canceled. But this is the first time that I really thought about people being separated from their luggage. Their luggage is now locked and stored away, and it's not easy to obtain. Matter of fact, if you're in connecting flights, you really don't even know where your luggage is. That's why it's important that you take care of these things. We have to think through everything in this life. We can't leave anything to chance. So a white supremacist group called the Patriot Front was busted for planning a riot in the Idaho Pride Parade. 31 members. I am so glad for the media by outing these people, by putting their pictures up and plastering their faces. So if people did not know that they were a member of this group and they're going to work pretending that they're just Joe Blow, now people know who they are and what they are about. People can't even have parades without somebody else wanting to shit and rain on their parade. We live in a fucked up world, man. You do the best that you can to smile. You do the best that you can to laugh. You do the best that you can to enjoy, because there's always some demon out there that's willing to put a pitchfork or set a fire to your joy. Remember that there's always somebody out there. So your responsibility to you and yours is to make every moment count. So I watched quite a bit of TV because it's been 2 weeks since we last spoke. Legendary had their season finale, and Juicy Couture won. They were the first Kiki house to ever win the competition. If you haven't seen Legendary, this was an outstanding season. It was a very good show. I appreciated it. It was judged well. The judges that came in seemed to have fun. The houses seemed to perform really well. I mean, it was a winner. I hope they get renewed for another year because they deserve it. So You Think You Can Dance is in full swing. We got the final 12 participants. So starting this week, we will actually start seeing choreographed dances being performed by the couples. And not only that, people will start going home. Master Chef is still in its phase of eliminating people from the show. I thought we would have been past that phase, but we're not. I watched Biographies Bobby Brown. It was a very interesting 3-part documentary on Bobby Brown. We learned some things. We thought we knew everything about Bobby Brown. We learned some things that even I didn't know that I knew. I never knew that Bobby had dealt with heroin. I mean, I really feel fucked up that he had to go through that. It dealt with him, his kids. It dealt with him. It dealt with Whitney. It dealt with New Edition. They left nothing out. It was a pretty good documentary. I thought that Ralph Tresvant never speaking was kind of weird. I don't know what's the dynamics there, but I don't get into stuff like that. I'm just bringing it up. Ralph Tresvant never spoke. The Ultimate Fighter, it's been 2 shows since we last spoke, but this JoJo and Claire fight, which was the show before last week's show, was so far the fight of the year. It's a good season. Do I see any superstar talent coming out of it? No, but we never know. They could pump this up when they actually get off the show and get in the right training camps and get with the right teams and get the right sponsors so that some of these people could actually leave their jobs and dedicate themselves fully to their craft. But I would say if you haven't seen The Ultimate Fighter with Juliana Pena and Amanda Nunes, you should be watching it. The Boys season 3 is crazy as ever, people. I highly recommend The Boys season 3. Uh, there's some racial overtones. There's the same shit that you expect from The Boys: inappropriate behavior, lunacy, violence for no particular reason, insane things just going on. I enjoy this show immensely. The WWE, they did that swerve with Edge. I thought that was pretty damn cool because you know what? As a longtime wrestling fan, very rarely am I ever surprised. But I was totally shocked when the Judgment Day turned on Edge. So, to be caught in a swerve at my age and after all these hours and hundreds of hours of watching, I appreciated that. AEW is not what I think it's going to be. One major problem to have with AEW: on your average show, there is at least 4 to 5 run-ins. Everybody is a member of a big gang, and too many wrestlers there, male and female, wear face paint. What is it with everybody with face paint, and why can't they ever really just have a match that ends with the two competitors without 5 other people just jumping in? You have to know the storylines to even just be a casual fan. Dark Side of the 90s has reappeared on Vice TV. The first show dealt with Arsenio Hall. I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the season because there was a lot of things that went on in the 90s, and I hope that they touch on a bunch of them. So they touched on late night television with black hosts. Like I said, the first one being Arsenio Hall. Abbott Elementary. I did not watch that during the year, but I watched the whole season. I marathoned it. Abbott Elementary is like a school version of The Office. It is very entertaining. The principal is off the hook. I mean, I love the show and I cannot wait for season 2. Flatbush Misdemeanor season 2 return. It's a very good first episode. They got you right on track. Good show. I appreciate them. 30 for 30 did a special on the 1996 women's dream team, the women's Olympic team that went to Atlanta. And I thought it could have been better, but it was also very good. So I highly recommend that. The WWE had to probe Vince McMahon because of this $3 million payout to allegedly hide an affair with a former employee. But Vince showed up on SmackDown. I mean, I don't know if it was because he can't read the room, he has the biggest balls in the world, or he just don't give a fuck. But for him to show up, I thought that was crazy. But you know what? The fans didn't boo him out the building. At least they didn't allow it to sound that way on TV. So you know what, Vince? If it was out of your pocket and you made this payment and it was only over a affair between 2 consulting adults, and it wasn't because you used your power to manipulate this woman to sleep with you, then I say, you know what? Who the fuck cares? Because let's see who has the biggest stone that they could throw at somebody else's glass house. So DC Commanders, Jack Del Rio, he tweets, businesses are being burnt down, no problem. Then we have a dust up at the Capitol, nothing burnt down, and we're going to make that a major deal. Jack Del Rio is a complete and utter asshole. No buildings were burnt down. The Capitol still stands, but blood was shed. State that you love, and also as a DC Commanders, you represent the America's capital city. I mean, This lets us know everything we need to know about Jack Del Rio. And if he has any dust-ups at all with black players over the course of the season, they could bring up what he did and how he said what he said, because he came off as a complete and utter MAGA racist. Deshaun Watson situation has got to come to some kind of ending. This is outlandish. They're still talking about more women charging them. You know the old saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't know. Maybe there's smoke, but it's actually dry ice. I don't know. I cannot tell you. I don't talk on things that I can't really speak on. But all I know is Deshaun Watson went from a squeaky clean image to a really vile, disgusting image. And I don't know how the Browns move on with this. I don't know how ironclad these contracts are. When you get this guaranteed money, is there any way, shape, or form? Is there anything in there about how you conduct yourself as a human being where they can null and void these contracts? But it's pretty bad. So the Live Golf tournaments kicked off, and Charles Schwartz won the first Live Golf tournament. I think that there's some things about Live that don't make sense. 3-day tournament, 54 holes, nobody gets cut. What is this, a participation golf tournament for grown adult professionals, some of them who have been number one in the world and won majors? Everybody gets cut in golf tournaments from high school on up. Who the fuck are they so special that this is a tournament where everybody needs to be there to the very end? It makes no sense. So the PGA, the instant that these dudes teed off of that first Live tournament, they suspended 17 players. They banned them. And you know what? There's going to be more. There's going to be more guys who are going to go over there and go for the money. And I hope it's nobody that I really like on the PGA Tour. I prefer the guys that I like to be on the PGA Tour to stay. So I am actually going to say I'm a PGA golf fan. Live Golf, I watched it a little bit on YouTube. It was bizarre looking. First of all, you shouldn't have to watch golf on YouTube. The standing thing was confusing, sitting on the left-hand side of the board, who's in first place, and the team concept of one guy wins, but his team also wins. It makes no sense. You know what? Unless you're playing like a Riders Cup or something like that, when you're playing a team, it's usually an individual sport, and that's the fun of it. It's a one individual going for the trophy, going for the check, putting on their best displays for the world to see. So we had the RBC Canadian, and Rory won that. The U.S. Open was this weekend, and Matt Fitzpatrick won the 122nd U.S. Open. This is his first PGA win at the age of 27, and it's a major. That is amazing. His putting was outstanding on that back nine. That course in Boston was kicking everybody's ass. I mean, think about it. If you win a major tournament with only being 5 under, I mean, that's 4 days to get 5 under. That meant that course was something else. Those roughs were thick. It was not the easiest course to play, but it was enjoyable to watch professionals struggle. Anytime you see professionals have to play to their A game just to be effective, it makes you feel good as a human being that they can't just go out everywhere and shoot 22 under. So the World Swimming Governing Body has finally done the right thing and banned transgender women from competing in women's events. I don't know how much testosterone these transgender women still maintain in their body, but the thing is, when you get to be 18, 19, 20, and you are a top-notch athlete as a male, and you didn't decide to compete against women because you identify as a woman, you are going to have physical advantages. And this has been proven time and time again, because the transgender women were putting their foot in the cisgender or naturally born women's ass for about a year. And it's not fair that these young ladies get something else taken away from them. Women get enough fucking things taken away from them in this world. Somebody has to defend them. And the World Swimming Government Body, I appreciate you for doing that. The UFC just had Well, first of all, they had UFC 275. And Teixeira actually lost his belt. He got rear naked choked with 4:32 to go in the final round, so he lost his title. Valentina Shevchenko, she retained her title in a split decision over the first time that I seen Valentina really in trouble of losing her title. Wang Li Ye, Joanne Jacek by knockout in the second round. Jacek left her gloves in the ring. I wish her nothing but the best. She has been an outstanding, exciting fighter for a long time. And she brought a lot to the game. But you know what? As she says, life goes on. And this thing she wants to do as a young lady, like have children. And I appreciate it. I want her to move on and have the best life she could have. But UFC this weekend in Texas was kick ass, people. If you have never seen a UFC card, watch the Cater versus Emmett card. Uh, it was outstanding. That was a good 5-round fight. Tim Means fought Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland caught him in a Dosh choke. This was just outstanding. There were good knockouts. There were good submissions. I mean, there were 6 or 7 or 8 stoppages. It was such a good card. The crowd was on fire so much that Dana just gave out bonuses left and right. The last 2 weeks of the UFC, without the world's biggest names on it, have been nothing but fire. My New York Yankees, they lost yesterday 10-9 to Toronto, but they are on fire. They have something like a 49-17 record, which is outstanding. I mean, they are playing phenomenal baseball. I am looking for a World Series this year. No, anything less than that would be a disappointment, almost to the point of it being a failure, unless injuries just go haywire. And you know what, man? It's been since '09 since the Yankees won, so I'm looking forward to them rebounding, taking this title, and putting that banner up where it belongs in the Bronx, number 28. The Golden State Warriors finished off the Celtics to win the NBA title 4-2. Steph Curry has finally got his MVP. This is Golden State Warriors' 4th championship in 8 seasons. I can't say anything about another man and the decisions that he makes for him and his family, but I'm thinking if Kevin Durant would have stayed there, maybe they would be on their 5th or 6th championship. But I guess he thinks he's going to do something huge in Brooklyn. So good luck to KD. He's a likable enough guy. He's a great basketball player. But Steph Curry to get this ring, so he now has one pre-KD. He has one post-KD. So you can't say that Steph only won with KD. That monkey is off his back. And not just that, he finally got the MVP trophy to bring home to go with the 4 titles. So he can't even say that he was carried in a series for once. Jason Tatum has some things to work on. I thought he had arrived. He's not fully there yet, but he's 24 years old. So, you know what? His ceiling is still way out in the stratosphere. He's nowhere near it. If he just gets his mind right and says to himself that no moment is too big for me, if I could do it against Giannis, if I could do it against Embiid, I could do it when it counts the most. Because he had other guys on that team who did play. Brown played. Brown gave it his all. Tatum seemed lost a lot of this series. Just like Draymond Green seemed lost a lot of the series, but when it counted, he showed up. I finally got to listen to Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And I'm going to say that this is not a party time record if that's what people are looking for. But there is some outstanding music that was on display by Mr. Lamar on this album. United in Grief was fantastic. Father Time featuring Samper was fantastic. Rich Spirit, We Cried Together, Savior, Auntie's Diaries, and Mr. Morale. Those are all songs worth listening to. And I'm going to state that again. United in Grief, Father Time, Rich Spirit, We Cried Together, Savior, Auntie's Diaries and Mr. Morale. This seemed to be a 2-disc CD, and you know what? Kendrick Lamar is super poetic. He's really a poet. Oh my goodness, he really is a poet who falls under the category of hip hop, and because there's music involved and it's blend together. But the man is very poetic, and is the way he puts things together, it paints a picture, and it paints a pretty clear and obvious picture that you can run with, that you can look at, you can see clearly where he's trying to take you. So I appreciate this. I put this down as one of my albums of the year. Now, next week, the guest of the show is going to be to genuinely keep anything, you must be first willing to give it away. Okay? That's just a seed that I'm planting in your mind. And don't forget, screw with those telemarketers day. Screw with their minds. They call your home to bother you. Tell them you're going to call them. I already explained what to do and how to do it. I hope that everything is well with you. I hope everything is well with yours. I hope that you maintain peace, that you get the things that you need, as long as they're righteous, that you don't bring anybody down to lift yourself up, that you don't destroy anybody to make yourself look better, that you are thinking about the big picture, and that you give to get. You don't ask to get, but you give, and it will be received back to you. So I wish you, and I wish all of yours, peace, peace, and peace.